The heroics of rescuers following the crash of United Flight 232 in Sioux City is forever commemorated in the form of a statue on the Missouri riverfront. A sculpture called Spirit of Siouxland portrays 3-year-old Spencer Bailey being rescued by the late Lieutenant Colonel Denny Nielsen of Sioux City's 185th Tactical Fighter Group. It was created by artist Dale Lamphere and installed on Sioux City's riverfront in 1994. Lamphere also made 2 smaller copies, one given to Siouxland Chamber of Commerce. The other is now being given to Nielsen's 4-year-old grandson, who's suffering from leukemia. The gift delivered to North Carolina by the statue's longtime owner, former Woodbury County Emergency Manager Gary Brown. KTIV's Taylor Deckert has more on the inspiration is bringing to the family.
It would be a family heirloom where what else do we do with it?
Former Emergency Management Director Gary Brown has one of too many statues of the Spirit of Siouxland, a memory from Flight 232 forever frozen in time.
We look at the statue as it's one pair of hands helping one patient. And that's what went on throughout the response to this crash and the recovery is every pair of hands, every person made their little difference in how things turned out.
Dennis Nielsen's actions became a symbol of Siouxland's spirit for a tragic situation. Nielsen is also grandpa to 4-year-old Jacob Reynolds.
Who's that? It's Grandpa, right?
Nielsen's family resides in central North Carolina, where Brown recently made the trip to give Jacob this statue.
Sort of just depicts like my dad's entire career, how he was always helping other people.
A few weeks after the trip was set, the Reynolds family discovered Jacob has leukemia.
So he's been going through all of his leukemia treatments and chemo treatments and all sorts of challenging things at the doctor. We've been battling that since February.
Brown and Jacob's parents want this statue of hope, good spirit, and bravery to show this little boy he can do great things like his grandpa.
That's where this belongs. It will mean a lot to that family going forward.
He was just doing his job that day, and so I hope Jacob can sort of be inspired by that.
In Sioux City, Taylor Deckert and Chief Videographer Acacia Phillips, KTIV News 4.
Denny Nielsen previously lived in Mobile before he moved to North Carolina with the Air Guard.